KeemStar is being sued right now, as most of you all have heard, and it just seems like another one of those YouTube stories. But it's not at all a normal story, because this story deals with a really bad guy. Romeo Lacoste, I think that's how you say his name. Anyway, if you actually look at the evidence in this, there is a major problem here. Let me show you what I mean, and we'll even answer some of the questions that most people have about the lawsuit. Because like with any lawsuit brought up on YouTube, everyone is a lawyer. But luckily, we can dispel a lot of the myths floating around with discussion from actual lawyers who broadcast on YouTube. So let's go. This is KeemStar versus the nasty Romeo. And before we get started, this video is my opinion on the evidence I will show. In no way should you sue me over this video. All of this is alleged until Romeo goes to court, which I'm sure he will.
You're a young celebrity or you're a young YouTuber and you need a tattoo, you go to this guy, Romeo.
Today actually comes from KeemStar again here. He actually tweeted this out today. He said KeemStar gets sued in federal court.
Has KeemStar finally gone too far? Has his loose reporting and throwing around big, scary words finally backfired on him? Well, maybe.
This news revolves around Romeo Lacoste and KeemStar, so let me bring you guys up to speed. Some of you guys may already know about this, but for those of you guys who don't, Romeo Lacoste, last year he was exposed for having very inappropriate conversations with underage girls. KeemStar really broke that story.
People are starting to find out what's actually going down. So what exactly did Romeo do? Like, DM conversations between them and Romeo were real. And they start off shockingly by this. Romeo says in October of 2016, "You're not down to do it sooner, or do you want to wait until you're 18? Now, right here alone, this is bad because...
Yes, it's really bad. And it goes to show that this is not one conversation. There are many like this.
At the time, Romeo is like 27, 28, and he is confirming in this message alone that he knows that these girls are underage, and he's asking them if they want to do it, like when they turn 18, or do it sooner.
Then we've got, let's go to this one.
Switch is off.
I went ahead and cut this out. Before this, you don't want to know what he's showing. Luckily, it's already blacked out, but I just wanted to be safe and completely cut it out. The YouTube algorithm is crazy. So here we go.
That other phone, the glare on your forehead, like the light, goes away from him pulling the phone away.
Yeah.
Preceded by a mental breakdown from KeemStar. And the other chunk of video evidence, of course, it all comes from Keem. That's why he's being sued, is an interview with not one or two, but with several people. Basically, all have evidence to confirm what's being said and back it up. And if you want to see these videos, just check out DramaAlert for when he covers this. Romeo versus Keem. Now, here's the complaint in federal court. Complaint for damages for torturous interference with contractual relations. This is involving a business, and interference with prospective economic advantage, request for injunctive relief, and demand for a jury trial. So basically, Keem has done something that has affected my business, make less money. I request for the court to step in and give me some money from Keem, because Keem made a bunch of money destroying my business, is basically what this says. So DramaAlert channel, owned by defendant, projected across multiple social media outlets, including but not limited to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. He holds DramaAlert as a platform to deliver what defendant proffers as news on social media interaction and online entertainment. This is my issue, because he does give news. As much as you either like or hate Keem, he does give the news. And all of us will mess up stories, and whether we fix them or not should be how you all judge us. I always say that. Here, it's almost saying like, look, you can't report the news because if it makes me less money, I'm gonna sue you. Doesn't matter if I did it. Doesn't matter if there's evidence. Defendant conducts interviews, publicized video, provides his opinion on the stories that he covers. Defendant uses the stories to push his own agenda and to sway his followers into sharing his opinion. I don't agree with that. I mean, I suppose you could frame it that way. This provides a negative connotation to somebody giving their opinion and putting out what they deem newsworthy, which is just a dangerous precedent to set in court. And God help us if he actually succeeds. Of course, Romeo won't. there's protections for the press and for free speech. But anyway, defendant has accused plaintiff of blank in several videos across the aforementioned media outlets, including in these videos published to YouTube, March, blah, blah, blah. And the defendant publicized a video recording of a conversation plaintiff was engaging in, conversations of a blank nature, and interviewing with the recording's creator. So this leads to the biggest question in this story that I have people bring up and argue about that we will kind of solve here in a minute. But before we get there, let's just make sure we get the rest of this done. Individual. Now, here's the the other point. The 2 points I want to make. One is on whether or not KeemStar is going to get in trouble for playing a recording if Romeo didn't consent, and whether or not Romeo admitted to crimes in suing KeemStar. And I think this right here is Romeo admitting to crimes with Keem. There have been people arrested for less than this, and Romeo being insane in the membrane. I don't know what his lawyer was thinking. I don't know what this is, but listen to this line. The recording was made by the individual with which the plaintiff was engaging in the charged conversation was a minor, hereafter known as person A. You're admitting to committing a crime. You're admitting that you did this with the minor. What are you thinking, Romeo? Plaintiff had no prior knowledge of the recording, nor had either given consent for its creation, and that's basically it. Now, I don't have to stress to any of you how crazy this is, do I? I don't have to go in deeper on how nutty it is that this dude thinks that it could basically just admit to this. Okay, here we go. No, this is, oh my God, this is so bad. Defendant publicized video recording of it engaging in a sexual nature in an interview with the recording's creator. The recording was made by the individual with which plaintiff was engaging in the conversation, person A. Person A falsely told the plaintiff that she was of majority status. This excuse, Romeo, I don't know if you went and checked, never works for people like you. You can't use, hey, they told me they were 18 as a defense. You basically, in the court's eyes, still committed the crime. You still going to jail. And good God, I don't get it. I don't know how a lawyer let him do this. On the time it was created, person A was in Florida, where she believed is to have been resident. Now, and then it goes into basically saying that both of those states are a two-party state, which they are, which means both sides have to consent before you can record. The question is, will Keem lose the lawsuit simply because he played a recording that was taken without consent? And the answer from a couple internet lawyers shocked me a little bit. I thought maybe there would be some discussion on it, but the internet lawyers, they don't agree. Here's what Viva Frey had to say.
All other people on that conversation. But even if that recording were made illegally, that has nothing to do with KeemStar. He is not the one who recorded the conversation. So regardless of whether or not that recording was illegally made by person A, once person A gave that recording to KeemStar, KeemStar had nothing to do with the legality of that recording itself. I am not certain if the illegal nature of that recording would render it inadmissible as evidence. We'll have to see if that argument ever comes up in this lawsuit. But the fact that that recording might have been illegally made by person A has nothing to do with KeemStar.
And I think that this makes perfect sense. Basically, if Romeo wants to say that this recording is wrong, what Viva is saying that previous lawsuits show that the media can report on recordings that are made illegally. It's just that somebody can go sue the person for basically what Romeo would have to do is sue the individual that made the recording, who he admits was a minor. So he won't be able to sue her anyway. He might be able to sue her parents, I guess, but that won't go over well. So just to make sure that other people who are lawyers and are well-versed in these stories, these things, and done a lot of good research for it, that's why you should check out Viva Frey and check out Rakita Law here. Rakita Law, Nick Rakita, he went into this about this whole question of whether or not Keem is in trouble for playing that recording, and he had pretty much the same opinion as Viva Frey due to looking at previous cases. Here's what he had to say.
Really a short complaint. In this case, KeemStar is not the person accused of making the recording without consent, nor is he even accused of facilitating the making of the recording without consent.
Now, the reason why Nick says this, those are the things that matter when you're arguing this kind of argument in court, according to previous cases, just to update you there.
KeemStar would be a broadcaster who is turned over a video from a source. Now, there are, don't ask me to cite it off the top of my head, I don't know, but there are cases out there in the appellate courts and in the Supreme Court level, I believe, that state that when a broadcaster receives some sort of material that is newsworthy or commentary worthy or whatever fits into the broadcast, and that material was illegally obtained, the broadcaster still has a First Amendment right to broadcast said media. It doesn't become illegal for the broadcaster to share this information unless the broadcaster knowingly participated in the illegal acquisition of that material.
Which Keem, 1, did not do, and 2, is not being accused of it. And you'd think if this dude had a good lawyer, he might, but he may not, they would actually think about these things before going forward, in my opinion.
Right? If he was an accomplice to a crime, that would be one thing. But if he didn't, facilitate the illegal recording or have the minor child acting as his agent for the illegal recording, then him getting an illegal recording and then broadcasting it isn't subsequently illegal for him. That is a protection the news media have.
So my conclusion in this story is that Romeo really screwed himself. I guess we'll wait and see what happens. We'll update you. Please like, subscribe, dislike, comment. Let me know what you think. Share if you want to. I'll see you in the next one. UNIRock out. Thanks for watching.